Welcome to My Forever Home, the podcast. I'm Frances Cosway and I've helped hundreds of people create forever homes. I can't wait to share the journey with you. So let's start. Hello everyone and welcome to the next episode in the Your Forever Home podcast series in our bathroom design essentials season. We are up to episode 4, talking all about bathroom design and how to best go about creating your bathroom. And let's face it, we're not just talking about one kitchen, we're talking about homes in this day and age that normally have several bathrooms. So there's lots to think about in terms of what are they going to look like, what colours are they going to be, how are we going to design them? And today, that's what I'm going to be talking about. The colours that we're going to choose, how do we work out what our leading piece is, how do we pull all these different materials together and all the different colours and tones together, that's what I'm going to be talking about today. So welcome. The day that I'm recording this, the week that I'm recording this is actually the week of the webinar, the Kitchen Design Essentials Masterclass. So that's very exciting. And for those who will have tuned in, I'm sure that you will have learnt lots of things about kitchens. But today, it's all about bathrooms. So this episode is actually called Choosing Your Bathroom Style and Colours. And it is for those who really enjoy the process of bringing all the materials together and all the colours together. This is really an episode you're going to enjoy. It can be one of the trickiest parts, and it's also one of the reasons lots of people come to us, because they walk into a tile shop and they think, oh my goodness me, where do I even start? There's so many things to look at. There's so many colours. There's so many different styles, and it's working out the ones that really talk to you. But you've got your floor plan sorted. We talked about that. You've got your scale sorted. We talked about that. And you've got the layout. And so now it's working out the materials. For finishes, colours and materials, I'm going to cover that today. But I highly encourage you to go back to the Kitchen Design Essentials season, because I have very specific episodes around benchtop materials, around cabinetry materials, and also around the different types of splashbacks that you can have. But that is going to give you really in-depth information. I mean, benchtops goes over 2 different episodes. I think we talk in the end about 15 different benchtop materials. I will cover off at a very high level in this particular season different materials, but it's going to be covered off in more of a summary way and what's really applicable and what you need to think about with bathrooms, how it's different because it's a wet area than what it will be in your kitchen. So if you really want to get into the nitty-gritty of benchtop types and cabinetry types, I'd highly recommend you go back to the Kitchen Design Essentials series in terms of benchtop materials and cabinetry materials and listen to those episodes. So let's kick off. How do you start with your look and feel? What I'd really encourage you to do to get inspired about what do you really gravitate to, what do you really love, by working out what you like. And one of the best ways to do that, and it depends whether you're an online person or you're a really hard material sort of person, but create mood boards. And they can be online, or they can be utilising magazines, where you can cut out the images. I had a client come into me last week and she had a mood board that was basically on a pin board, and she cut out lots of different pictures. And that's the way you can really get familiar with the sorts of things that you like. It's interesting when clients come to us and they've already collected a whole lot of materials, we can really see and very easily see what they're gravitating to time and time again. And you might be able to see that for yourself, the reoccurring themes that you keep coming up with, that you keep gravitating back to. And that's going to be a really good indicator of the direction you need to go down. Now, if you're not a cut and paste sort of person, you don't like flicking through magazines, do it online. There are fantastic resources such as Pinterest where you can create boards, and also on House where you can create boards, but obviously Instagram is a really good resource too. You just can't create boards there. So that's where you can create, again, looking at all those images, what you are gravitating to. The other resource that's really helpful is, yes, you can go to interior designer portfolios, but you can also go through to bathroom showrooms where you can actually touch and feel materials. You can see how things are laid out, and you can see, again, what you're gravitating to. So I do encourage you to go to showrooms so that you can see bathroom and vanities and all that sort of stuff set up. So then I want you to think about, and this is often overlooked, I really want you to think about the feeling you're trying to create in your bathroom. Now, the feeling that you're trying to create in the bathroom that you're going to be using, which will most likely be the ensuite, I really want you to focus on. So what is it? How do you want to feel when you go into that space? Now, some people might want it to be really calming and relaxing. It's a place for maybe being in the bath and having a really calming start to the day. Other people want it bright and fun. They want to feel energized in that space. Others want it to feel dark and moody. They want a real hotel feel. They want to feel that it's taking them to another place than the rest of their house may be. So I want you to think about how you want to feel in the space. And this is what we ask our clients, because how you feel is going to really determine the types of materials you choose, and absolutely, most certainly, the colors that you're going to utilize as well. Then I want you to think about the look. And again, when you're going to resources and looking at pictures and things, this is going to help you with the look, but the feeling is something else altogether. Now, the feeling that's going to be in the ensuite might be quite different to the family bathroom, and the feeling in the powder room could be completely different again. So think about some looks. So here are some ideas. You don't need to define your look, but here's some ideas. You might like a look of it being bright and airy. Now, from a functionality perspective, I'm a big fan of lighter bathrooms. I don't feel, this is my own opinion, of course, that a really dark bathroom is going to serve you, because it's very difficult, and I've had clients say this to me, yes, it might look, it have a particular look about it, but gee, it's hard to actually do your makeup in a really dark bathroom. You're not reflecting any light, it's absorbing light. So light and airy is definitely what we get told very often when we're doing a briefing session with our clients. The other look, it might be you want it colourful. You might want to inject lots of colour in there. I had a client a few years ago, and she had really bright tiles, multicoloured tiles in her bathroom for her children. And she said to me, oh, but do you think it's going to date? I really love these tiles. Will you stop thinking about if it's going to date? She didn't want a house that was going to be everyone else. She wanted it to feel fun. And so the look for her was fun, and she wanted it to be bright. So think about the look. You might want it to be monochromatic. This bright stuff's not for you. You want it to be quite simple, and so monochromatic, just having one or two tones of a colour, as in quite neutral, could be the thing that you're after. You might want a tropical theme. You might want Moroccan, which is what I did in my own home, because I'm crazy about the Moroccan style of the simplicity that they have in their bathrooms, and the materials and the textures that they use. So you might want a Moroccan-inspired bathroom. You might want it really traditional, where you've got paneling in your, you've got profiles in your cabinetry. You might want it super modern. You might want a shabby chic, where you're going to use recycled materials. You might want a modernist style. We've used modernist styles where we've used modernist sideboards and so forth to create a vanity. You might want to, whitewash and repurpose a sideboard, or a sideboard that can then create a vanity and have a shabby chic look. So they're just some ideas to get your creative juices going in terms of what's the look that you'd like to create in your bathroom. So the big question again is, when we were talking about kitchens, you really are only working with one kitchen. But when, in this day and age where we're often working with a home that has more than one bathroom, it's very common these days. 2, 3 bathrooms is quite common in a family home. So are they going to be same, or are they going to be different? So if you have more than one bathroom, do you want them all to be exactly the same, very streamlined, and they're all going to have exactly the same materials being utilised? Or do you want to use this as a creative opportunity to have every bathroom different? That's exactly what I did. I fell in love with too much stuff. And it was a home that we were building for ourselves. So why on earth was I going to be boring and have every single bathroom the same? And I don't mean that in a terrible way, but being in the industry that I'm in, getting access to the materials that I have access to and falling in love with so many things and waiting so long for my forever home, there was no way that I was going to have every bathroom the same. It's not for everyone though. And this is where you need to think about what's going to be right for you. Now, the other hybrid of that is, so every bathroom can be completely different. Every bathroom can be completely the same. Or you may have elements of a bathroom that are then going to go through each bathroom. So, for example, you may have the same bench top that is used in each bathroom, but you may have different cabinetry or you may have different tiles. What happens a lot with our clients is they'll have the same vanity and the same bench top colours, and then they'll have different tiles that work back to that vanity and that bench top. For me personally, I had the same vanity colour going through my bathrooms, and that was the consistent piece throughout all of the bathrooms throughout the home. There's no hard and fast rule. It is really going to come down to the look that you're trying to create, the feeling, and whether you can deal with that or not. Some people can't bear the thought of having different bathrooms, so that's going to be a personal decision that you need to make. So consistency can definitely be created with the cabinetry or the bench top. You may even decide to have exactly the same tiles throughout and change the cabinetry. It's up to you. But as with everything I say on this theme is, because it's your forever home, I don't want you to feel that you are inhibited in any way, shape or form about the decisions that you're going to make because of what everyone's telling you should do. You need to make the decisions for you because it's your forever home. You're going to be living in it and it needs to suit you. You want to get excited about these decisions. So don't be worrying about what everyone else is doing. Make decisions for yourself. I feel like it's a broken record. I could just record that over and over, that piece of advice, but I really want that to be a takeaway every time I talk. So we've also, now I want to talk about the powder room just in isolation. I know we've touched on it in other episodes as well, but the powder room is where a lot of our clients, most pleasingly to us, would like to create a little bit of wow factor. They want it to break the mold. They want to have something that is a little bit different. They want to have something that is not necessarily what's going on with the rest of the bathrooms. It's the place where their guests are going to go, and so they really break the mold and do something completely out there. Tropical wallpaper, and if that's not going to suit you, there are other wallpapers that might mimic linen. So this might be an opportunity for you to really think, well, you know what? I'm not brave enough to do it anywhere else. It's a powder room. We can easily change it. It's a small space. Let's just do what we really want to do in there. So it can be a talking point. It could be loud wallpaper. It could be brightly colored. It could be texture. It could be so many different things. So again, don't be restrained by your imagination. Be brave. But if you don't feel confident bringing everything together, get help, because it is expensive to put in bathrooms. And so you want to make sure that everything that you are choosing is going to work out. So if you're not confident, then make sure you get help, even if it's someone that can be a sounding board for you to say, yep, this is all good, and on you go. Okay, so let's start with our colours. So the starting point for colours is we need to have consistency with the home. So this is the same as with the kitchen. If you're using warm or cool colours throughout your home, you need to be consistent. You can break the mold a little bit, but you need to be really confident with your ability to choose colours, and you need to be really confident about how tones can make or break the feeling and the continuity within a home. So I think if, unless you are super confident in Serena, I would actually suggest that you stick with all warm and you stick with all cool throughout the home so that you have consistency when you're flowing through the home, when you're walking through the space. So if you are using warm colour tones, so your beiges and your browns and warm colour palette throughout the rest of the home, I'd encourage you to take that through into the bathroom. And conversely, if you're using a lot of greys in the colours throughout the rest of the home, then I would suggest that you are using greys then also in your bathroom selections as well. Make sure that you've got that consistency. Otherwise, it feels jarring. It just doesn't feel right. Colour tone can be a little bit confusing. So again, it might be an area that you want to get some assistance on. Opt for consistency. All right, so choosing our material colours. You need to start with your leading piece. You may not have a leading piece, but more often than not, we find that a client will have something that they love. They've either got, oh, I'm in love with this tile, I'm in love with this color, or I really want a navy vanity, or I'm in love with this stone and I must have it, in my bathroom. So that is what we call the leading piece. This is what the rest of the scheme is going to revolve around. So it could be a feature tile, it could be a cabinetry color, it could be a bench top, but whatever it is, it's something that you really love and you want to have in that bathroom. Now, I'll just give you an example. It was just beautiful to work on this project. We actually designed an entire bathroom around the bath. It was a reclaimed bath. It had a very particular patina on the outside. It wasn't going to get repainted. She wanted to keep the deterioration of that patina on that bath. And so we chose all our materials for that bathroom around the bath. So that was absolutely the leading piece in that bathroom. It is on the website, so I will put the link to the show notes so you can see this exquisite claw-footed bath and just how organic that bathroom is, just because of the textures and the colours that were coming out in that bath. So that was clearly the leading piece for that particular bathroom. It's on the website under portfolios on White Pebble Interiors. That particular project is called Sustainable Sanctuary, so you can easily get onto it by going to the portfolio page of the website, but I will put a link in the show notes because it is one of my most favourite bathrooms. And it's quite funny. The client said, when she reflects about that bathroom, she says, when we were in lockdown, because it was a Melbourne-based client, she said, I felt like I was being transported to the Amalfi Coast every time I walked past it. She just loves it. And it makes me feel like I need to do my bathroom again because it's just so beautiful. So you get the point. You need to find out what the leading piece is. So my tip for that is choose something that you love. Don't just choose it for the sake of it. And you might not have something that you're so passionate about and you may not have the leading piece. But we find more often than not, there is something that the client is gravitating to that will be the leading piece. For example, in my bathroom, I had a tile. Patricia Urquhart features a lot in my house. She had another classic tile that I loved. It was really quite neutral, but my whole scheme was revolved around the tile, and the same in our powder room, which is a Pizzazza Marcel Wanders tile, and everything revolved around that as well, but they were quite neutral. Now, are you going to have dark or light cabinetry? So again, whatever your leading piece is, you need to make sure that it's going to pair back. So that might determine and dictate whether it's going to be dark or light cabinetry, depending on what the colour is, the tone is, or whether it might be dark in itself. Now, again, that comes back to the overall look. So if you're wanting dark and moody, you may have a dark tile, a dark vanity, a dark bench top. I actually personally like to create a bit of contrast. I feel that contrast is not such a bad thing. It lets the material, come into its own. So dark tiles then may induce that you have a light coloured vanity, or a dark timber vanity may induce that you're going to have this dark and moody feel. You may have really light tiles and then you'd like to have a darker vanity or a darker timber so that really sets that off. But that's why that feeling, and that you nail the feeling before you start this process, because that's going to determine then what path you go down. So other elements in the bathroom may also determine what you choose. So there might be a feature tile behind the bath. You may have a feature tile on the floor, and obviously all of those things need to marry in together, and that will obviously be the leading piece. Now you can add texture, shape, color, or you can break it up. So generally a feature tile, the feature will be the feature tile. That may be a color, it may be a texture, it may be monochromatic, or you may have a feature bench top, or you may have coloured vanities are really coming back into vogue. That doesn't mean that I'm saying you should do it, but if you love colour, it's a great opportunity to do it. Create contrast. As I said, I'm a big fan of creating contrast. So I will do light cabinetry, dark bench top. Sometimes I might do a white vanity and a white bench top if I've got something else going on and then it's going to be too much. And it is creating that balance between what's going to be too much. And I think if you've got a really big feature and a bright colour, then you might need to pare it back. My rule of thumb is generally, particularly in a bathroom, I wouldn't be using more than 3 different materials, maybe 4 at a push. But if you've got 3, it's not going to be over, you might have a wall tile. So that you've got 3 different colour tones going on. Otherwise, it can just get a bit too much. Now, how does timber work in a bathroom? So I will go over the advantages and disadvantages of using all these materials in a bathroom. Right now, I'm just talking about colour. So timber in a bathroom, you can have timber cabinetry. You could have a solid timber vanity. You may just opt for a laminate timber. Some of the laminate timbers can be absolutely exquisite and very lifelike. So you could definitely opt for a timber vanity. It may be that you want a timber top. You just need to be mindful of how it's being sealed, but that can look really quite beautiful, particularly in a more traditional style bathroom. You can use timber in handles as an accent. That can look very, very sophisticated, looks beautiful in a modernist style, but timber, there's lots and lots of timber handles that are on the market at the moment. And so just having that little accent can create that warmth in that space. You might have timber floating shelves. We talked about floating shelves last week, but they can be used as an accent, and that's another way for you to incorporate timber into the space. I would always avoid grey-based timbers. Grey is thankfully on its way out. It's been out in Europe for a couple of years now, so we're about 5 years behind Europe in Australia. But grey-based timbers it's not a reflection of nature. It doesn't look natural, it looks artificial. So I would highly suggest that you don't use any grey-based timbers either in the floor or in any of the vanities. So when you're looking at a timber or a timber look, use a natural looking colour. So use the colours of a natural timber rather than these grey washed timbers. They will date so quickly and they just don't look real. So I don't really understand having a grey based timber when it looks completely not real. But again, if you're using cool materials, some people then think, well, I need to have a cool timber. You might want to use then something else and not have a timber colour at all. Okay, less is more. This is something that I talk about quite a lot across all of the things that we do. So I mentioned before, have a maximum of 3 different types of materials, but also don't mix your timber types. So don't have a wenge and a walnut and an oak. Try and have your timbers consistent in the same colour tone. The colour tone, it doesn't have to be the exact variety, the exact type. It doesn't have to be a walnut, American walnut and an American walnut, but it's more making sure that the tones of those timbers match. Because if you have too many different tones of timber going on, again, it's too busy. And this is where all those material types, it just creates a bit of a mess. It doesn't feel right. It's too busy. Now, we get asked this a lot as well. Do I use the same floor and wall tile? This comes down to a couple of things. One is sometimes, again, less is more. And having your floor tile blend up into the wall is actually a really good use of creating simplicity in a space. It creates the illusion of space because you don't have a defined line of where the wall and the floor meet. So it means that all blends in. And so it creates the illusion of space. So in a very small bathroom, I would always suggest that there is the same floor and wall tile. It just works really well. Some people are really hesitant with that. Oh, I need a different floor tile because, well, I need a different floor tile, but you don't. And sometimes just having the same floor and wall tile, and then you might have a feature, is all that you need. And this is where I'm talking about how less can be so much more, and it creates a more sophisticated look, and it's more simple. And that often then means that it's just much more pleasing on the eye. So how do we bring in colour? If you're the lover of colour, we've talked about how we bring our timbers in and talking about the leading piece so that you can create your whole design scheme. But how do we bring in colour? You need to start with the colour first if you are doing a leading piece, if that is your leading piece. The obvious one is coloured tiles. And I'm so excited working in this industry at the moment because the amount of colour that is coming into our lives with all the materials that are out there is just extraordinary. I'm so excited about the colour that's available in tiles, the colours that our clients are prepared to embrace, and just the colours that are coming out. It just makes things so much more interesting. And don't forget what I've said. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing. Don't worry about the resale because you're doing this for you. So coloured tiles, you could have them just as a splashback above the vanity. You could have a feature tile on the floor. That's nice. Really beautiful in a traditional home. Or you could have a feature tile on the wall. Now, it could just be texture, but this is definitely an area where you can incorporate colour. Now, what's really popular at the moment, and they are very simple and they're really impactful, are the Kit Kat tiles. So they're like the fingers. You can get them skinny, you can get them fat, you can get them concave, you can get them textured, you can get them dimpled, and you can get them in so many different colours. But they are very simple, but really impactful. Look amazing. You could just do one wall. You could do an L. We often do a feature wall that runs into the shower. So you've got an L as a feature. And that's when you need to then have very simple tiles on your floor and your walls to marry in with that feature. You might want to have colour in the cabinetry. We're getting this as a brief more and more and more. I really want to have a coloured vanity. Awesome. Navy is really popular at the moment, and so are the really organic greens. Music to my heart because I'm such an organic green sort of person. So think about your sage greens, your olive greens, your earthy greens. They're making a really big renaissance, which is awesome, and they look beautiful. We're using a lot of greens in kitchens and bathrooms now. But again, don't worry if they're huge. They're not huge for you. They're not good for you. So make sure if you're going to have a colour in your vanity or anywhere else, it's a colour you have always loved. It's a colour you've always worn, or it's a colour that you've always gravitated to. It's a colour you've always wanted to be around. For me, it's green. There's absolutely no secret that I am such a passionate lover of green in all sorts of different shades. I'm going through a big pink phase at the moment, but I'm wearing pink. I've got my very pink artwork here behind me for those of you who are watching this on Zoom. Sorry, on YouTube, I should say. So you need to make sure that you're choosing a colour that you love, and I don't really care what the colour is, you can always make it work. We've got a client at the moment who is crazy about colour in her house. She's having purple, she's having blue, she's having greens and teal. We're going to have colour so much in her house, in her kitchen, multicolours. So that so talks to her. And she's not going to be swayed by what other people are telling her in terms of, oh, it's going to date, and oh, she loves it. And I love the fact that we can work with someone that is really true to themselves. It's really important. Be true to yourself all the time. Now, bench top is another great way to incorporate colour. So you might have a feature stone. There are some stunning green stones, pink stones. You might have a really strong colour marble, or it may even be a marble that's got an orange going through it, whatever it is, coloured concrete. There's even coloured basins, coloured concrete basins that we're using as feature colours. We're doing blue basins in boys' bathrooms with grey tiles. Absolutely stunning. So lots of ways to incorporate colour. Robert Gordon are doing ceramic basins. So they're beautiful ceramic basins in lots of different coloured glazes. And that could be a little bit more subtle if you didn't want to go full on bright. It doesn't have to be bright to incorporate colour. So what are some popular colour combinations? We've got timber, with plain coloured cabinetry. Timber goes with everything. Just make sure you're being consistent, like I was talking about before. You may have darker cabinetry, lighter bench top. You may have darker tiles and then lighter cabinetry. You might have a timber vanity, and then you've got darker tiles, but it might be a lighter timber. You might have light cabinetry, light bench top, light tiles. You want it really bright and airy, but then you might incorporate texture so that it's not so monochromatic, and you may use tiles that have got movement in them, that concrete sort of look. Or you might choose a terrazzo that's got lots, it's monochromatic, so you're still only working with 2 colorways or 1 colorway, but you're introducing lots of texture and movement. So there's lots of different ways that you can incorporate color, movement, texture, pattern to create some interest. You just got to work out. This is, I think, the most simplistic way that I can teach people how to create their design schemes is to work out what the leading piece is. So I hope that you can now go off, one, create a mood board, whether it's cutting and pasting it down or putting it on a pin board, or you're going to create something online. Go and get inspired. Go and collate a whole lot of images that you really love. If you are going to engage an interior designer, it is such an awesome way for us as designers to get inside your head without you even opening your mouth. I can see instantly where a client is headed, what they're gravitating to time and time again by the look of the visuals that they've collated. And also think about the feeling. I don't want you to forget about the feeling you're trying to create. What an awesome opportunity if you want a really calm oasis of a very organic sort of bathroom, that you've then got a vista out to a beautiful landscape garden. You've got a window that can open up and you can smell the trees, and you can have, a beautifully landscaped outside this window. I know in my own ensuite, it was so important for me because we'd been to Fiji before we built our house, and I had the outdoor showers, and I was absolutely obsessed with this outdoor shower. Now in Melbourne, we don't necessarily have the weather for it all the time, but I wanted to create that outdoor in feeling. So we've got a floor to ceiling window in our ensuite, and then I've got a balcony which is full of plants and greenery, so that when I'm having a shower, I can look out and I can feel, because I'm so plant crazy, I can see my plants. And they're all over my bathroom as well anyway. But that's a really nice vista. So you might want that calm feeling. And for me, it was about creating a calming feeling. It was light, but I wanted to have that feeling with the outdoors. And so think about the feeling. It's something that people really overlook, and they may not be able to tap into it, which may be why you need to get a designer. But if you can think about your feeling and how you want to feel when you walk into that space, I think that's going to really help you in terms of the direction you're going to go down with the materials and the colours that you choose. So, couple of housekeeping things. What's coming up? When this drops on the 18th, we will have just had the Forever Home Kitchen Masterclass. That's okay, because there's a bathroom masterclass coming up on the 24th of March. So that is going to be all about bathrooms. Sorry, the 23rd of March, which is a Tuesday night. I swapped them around so that if you have a regular thing going on a particular night, always at 7 o'clock, because that's been the voted time that suits everyone the most. So that's on the 23rd. You can register for that already. So go to the events page on White Pebble Interiors. We'll put the link in the show notes as well. That's a free masterclass on bathroom design essentials. Don't forget that this series is going to continue on the podcast all about bathroom design essentials, and there'll be some guests coming up from Reese and also a tiling expert who is incredible, and we'll talk about why porcelain is so worth investing in. So there's still all that coming up. And then, of course, there's the kitchen. If you're also doing your kitchen, there's a special bonus offer at the moment with the Beautiful Kitchen Design Made Easy course. Again, I'll put the link into the show notes, but you're able to get access to 21 modules of that course. Can you believe that there is 21 modules on how to design a kitchen? Plus there's professionally designed resources that you can fill in and really get to work out how to work out the design for your kitchen. And the free bonus is free access to the design essentials to future-proof your forever home. So if you really want to understand the core foundations on creating flexibility and adaptability and making sure that your forever home is going to stand the test of time, that is my signature masterclass, which I have presented all over Australia at various home shows over the last few years. So that is absolutely the foundation, and that's included free as a bonus in the Beautiful Kitchen Design Essentials course, which is now available. The bonus is available until the 28th of February, free bonus. So make sure you tap into that. Again, all the details will be in the show notes. I hope you've had a fabulous week. We're now finally out of lockdown in Melbourne, take 3. Very grateful for that. Very grateful, as always, to have you listening in, to have you following. Don't forget about the very, very special community I've created with the Renovating and Building Your Forever Home. Every day I go on there, and every day my heart just swells with how beautiful that community is and how everyone is helping each other. So search for that on Facebook, join up, and there'll be a lot of things coming up in there that I'm going to do, especially for people that are in that group only. All right, I think I have chatted enough now. Have an absolutely wonderful weekend if you're listening to this before the weekend, and I'll be here next week. Bye for now. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of My Forever Home. If you're ready to renovate or build a new home and you need help to create a beautiful and functional forever home, you can book a chat with me directly at whitepebbleinteriors.com.au/chat. Have a great day.